Everyone, meet Kevin here. This is essentially worst case scenario for Afghanistan, and this is what I've been concerned about. I've been talking to friends, family, we've talked about it on YouTube, that once we pull out, the odds are we're gonna go right back to suicide bombings. Well, folks, today is the day. Today, so far, we have had upwards of now 3 bombings outside the Kabul airport in Afghanistan. Last night, the United States Embassy in Kabul said there was a credible terror threat, that is, and to stay away from the airport. The United Kingdom said there was a highly lethal terror threat hours before the attack. And Australia also issued an alert saying that a credible threat was imminent and that people should leave immediately. Unfortunately, because people are struggling to escape Afghanistan, people did not leave the airport, and now we have had at least 2 explosions with a possible 3rd explosion, and 12 U.S. service members have died, including 11 Marines and 1 Navy medic. In the last 18 months before this disastrous withdrawal, we have not lost a single military member. So this is a really sad and dark day. Now, we understand that our prior administration had agreements with the Taliban, but the reality is the Taliban is not solely to blame here. The expectation is that these suicide bombings occurred either under ISIS-K guidance or under Al-Qaeda guidance. We're not exactly sure yet, but the reality is clear. The Taliban do not have control. No control. There is a deal currently in place that the Taliban will provide folks safe passage to the airport, and American military members, along with NATO allies, have been providing whatever passage they could to create safe passage and safe convoys to get people into the airport, like American citizens or citizens of NATO countries or contractors, military contractors, reporters. But the Taliban here are completely failing. And unfortunately, when these explosions happened, more chaos was evident. Taliban were shooting into the sky, freaking out. Got about 60 people in total killed. Again, about 12 American service members, 140 people plus wounded. There were people, and I won't show images, but you could just look at hashtag Afghanistan on Twitter's video or images section, and it's horrible. You'll see bodies being thrown into rivers, bodies everywhere, blood everywhere, people running with injured babies, victims being carried away in wheelbarrows. It's complete chaos and lawlessness, and just it's sad. It's really, really sad. And it's not as if the Taliban doesn't have enough equipment. The Taliban just took over an entire country full of hundreds of Humvees, helicopters, mostly American-made military equipment, such as Boeing surveillance drones, rocket launchers, military-grade M4 carbines, uniforms, bulletproof vests, you name it. And there is such a lack of coordination of Taliban leadership. This is where I agree with Joe Biden that the Taliban are a, quote, ragtag force, that there really is no security or stability here. And now the big question is the United States just going to end this withdrawal sooner? Or how many more people have to die trying to bring control and stability back to Afghanistan? And is that even possible? Look, it's easy to say at this point, and I've said it myself, that it would have been much easier to leave a small contingent of troops to maintain stability in Afghanistan, to provide that leadership and guidance for the Afghan military. But that's all hindsight. What matters now is what we do going forward. Joe Biden talks about strategic attacks on ISIS or whatever. Well, how do you do that? How do you identify who's a civilian and who's ISIS? Sure, we've got CIA, we've got intelligence, but really? I mean, there are so many ISIS sympaths in Afghanistan. Same thing with the Taliban. I mean, you're in a sea of if you put goggles on that told you where your enemies are, you would just be in a sea of red because you're just surrounded by the Taliban and ISIS. And how do you distinguish between the two? This is a really big, bad problem. You know, suicide vests cost like $100. There's plenty of bomb material too. And these explosions are huge. They're massive explosions. There's no surviving these explosions when you're near them. And there are plenty of crowds, especially around evacuation points, where it's not difficult for a bomber just to walk in the middle of a crowd. It's so devastating and horrible. You know, people are refugees being attacked, and really, what it is it's a symbol. It's a stake of America's failure. That's what this is. These bombings, the bombers. It's not in my opinion, at least. It's not like the bombers are in Afghanistan saying, you know what, let's go kill innocent men, women, and children at the gates of the airport. It's, let's show how nobody has control over our region. That's really what this is. It's the opportunity to prove that there is no leadership in Afghanistan. That this entire country, in my opinion, is subject to falling to the whims of anarchy, leaderless tribal warfare between uncoordinated Taliban militants and various different terrorist groups like Afghanistan or ISIS-K. In other words, I believe the United States will leave Afghanistan by the August 31st deadline, which is Jack's birthday, my son's birthday. He turned 6. And the United States will leave. We might even start seeing evacuations pause sooner. We saw that happen with Norway. Norway has paused evacuations already, given the crisis at Kabul. Maybe there'll be ways for people to escape to borders and get through, the border to, I don't know where. You've got Pakistan, Iran. Maybe you could get out of the northern borders. It's going to be difficult for the United States, I feel like, to coordinate with Iran. I mean, maybe they can coordinate with Pakistan, but it's just a mess. This is massive instability. Now, one place that people are fleeing to, which is an area where actually one of my campaign rallies, an Iranian individual mentioned that a lot of people are fleeing to, and I don't know anything more than this, but and then I shouldn't say that. I did a tiny little bit of research, and it does appear that rebels are preparing to fight the Taliban in Panjshir, 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 and that a lot of people are trying to escape to Panjshir. But otherwise, this is just this is a devastating disaster. You know, right now on Twitter, you have "Where's Joe Biden" trending. I imagine he's in a situation room trying to figure out exactly what's going on. But I don't know that. I really don't have faith that our military knows right now exactly what's going on. And that's not to say it's the military's fault. It's not to say that they're not capable. It's just to say that how when you have rogue individuals wearing suicide vests, it's not like there's a country you can attack. What we have is just a complete lack of stability in this region, and it's going to lead to massive tensions, especially coming from a nuclear-armed or potentially to-be nuclear-armed Iran, and Pakistan, India. It's a mess. It's a big mess. It's devastating. I'm devastated to see this happen. It's heartbreaking. And I am concerned that over the next, through the end of the year, especially Christmas time or Thanksgiving time, we are going to go back to what it felt like 13 years ago in 2007 and 8, where every day it was like you had a new headline. 50 more people died at a suicide bombing in a church. 100 more people died at a school. 50 people died at a soccer game. And that's when we were there. I'm just worried it's going to get even worse now, and at some point, this could turn into another war. Certainly, you've got China and Russia trying to build relations with the Taliban, but again, what What kind of coordinated effort and leadership do you really have? Are they really capable of running a government, or are they going to get run over by ISIS? And then the weapons that now we essentially armed the Afghan army with go from us to the Taliban to then ISIS. Yeah, here we go. Suicide bombers now ID'd as ISIS fighters. Man, this is a sad day. August 26th. All right, folks. Well, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again next time. Thanks. Bye.